Let us now inspect the arguments provided from the geochemistry and cosmochemistry in favor of existence of a core. Geochemistry is that branch of science that deals with the chemistry of earth, especially the distribution of elements within the earth and how they have changed through time. Cosmochemistry does the same thing, but its boundaries are much wider. It makes a comparison of the distribution of the different elements among the different extraterrestrial bodies and compare them with that of the earth, and it also tries to build up a picture of evolution of such distributions. Interestingly enough, the most of these geochemical and cosmochemical arguments in favor of the existence of the core comes from the comparison of compositions of the extraterrestrial objects with that of earth. The most common extraterrestrial object that are used for this composition is meteorite. Meteorites are extraterrestrial objects that travel through the space and finally arrive at the surface of the earth. It is believed that meteorites form from the same material by accretion of which the earth has formed. So, a comparison of the composition of the meteorite with that of the earth leads us to a better understanding of the composition of the earth and its origin. It is also believed that meteorites, at least most of them, come from the asteroid belts that occupy the space between the planet Mars and the planet Jupiter. The meteorites are interpreted to be planetesimals, that is the embryo of planets that fail to grow into a large enough size to form a planet itself, or they are fragments of larger planet-like bodies that are disintegrated by collision with each other. It is thought of that one such large planetary body was called Vesta, and many of the fragments of the erstwhile Vesta are now collected on the surface of the earth as meteorites. There are many types of meteorites, but for the purpose of our study of the core, we use four major kinds. One is Ci carbonaceous chondrites, whose composition is believed to be exactly similar to the primordial, that is the earliest composition of the earth and that of the solar system. The other types of meteorites that really help us in understanding the composition and existence of the core are stony meteorites, iron meteorites, and stony iron meteorites. The stony iron meteorites has two components to it, one made up of nickel and iron and very dense, the other more comparable to the composition of the mantle dominated by silicates. It is the existence of these iron meteorites that first led man to think of a similar component to be present in the center of the earth, made up of high density nickel and iron. And the stony iron meteorites with its silicate cover around the core is a resemblance of the mantle. So, this was man's first estimate of the composition of the earth and first guess that there is a core which is dominated by nickel and iron. The physicists, when considered the earth as a rotating mass, they found the properties of this rotating mass does not match if the earth is taken to be a homogeneous body having uniform composition from the surface to the center of the earth. Sir Harold Jeffreys, in as early as 1926, calculated the rigidity of earth, and he found the rigidity of the earth does not match the rigidity of the mantle. It is the rigidity of earth that is lower than the rigidity of the mantle. It led to the conclusion that earth must have a liquid layer inside and thereby indicating to the presence of liquid core. Jacobs from USA calculated the change of density at depth with increase in temperature, and he found that at a depth of 5151 kilometer, that is the boundary between the inner and the outer core, there is a major change in density, and that density cannot be attained by any liquid, thereby proved the existence of solid core. The next evidence from the study of physical properties of earth comes from the calculation of its moment of inertia. A parameter is calculated called ratio of moment of inertia, designated as capital C, has a cutoff value of 0.4 for a mass which is homogeneous and spherical and rotating around its own axis. Any value of this parameter less than that of 0.4 will indicate there is an uneven distribution of mass with greater mass at the center. The value of this parameter for earth is 0.33, indicating the presence of a central core. For moon, the value is very close to 0.4. To be specific, it is about 0.39, suggesting if the moon has any core, the core must be very small and not more than 300 kilometers. Just to keep us reminded, the size of inner core of earth is comparable to that of the size of moon. Using this moment of inertia ratio, the existence of core in other planets like Venus and Mars has been established. The other property of earth as a rotating mass, the ultimate reason that a self-gravitating rotating mass like that of earth will have a core is a simple physics. For such a mass, if it has differential masses inside it, the densest material should be concentrated near the core for the moment of inertia reasons. And that is exactly what is happening in case of earth. The dense material, that is iron or nickel, is concentrated near the center of the earth to form the core. Now that we know what is a core of a planet and what is our core, that is the core of our planet, and also establishing the existence of core by using very simple properties of earth as a rotating mass to very sophisticated calculations of geochemistry and cosmochemistry, we should look into the origin of the core, how it has formed and when it did start to form. Before going into the details of these processes, we can take another very quick look of what we have discussed so far. The most exciting aspect of doing the earth science is that to know about our earth itself, we need to know about the things or the objects that are outside the earth, and whatever we discussed so far, meteorites proves the point. Because there is no direct accessibility to the central part of the earth, it is the analogy between the meteorite and the earth that led us, and way back in the last century, to believe that the earth has something at its center which is dominantly made up of nickel and iron. Also important is that the very simple physical laws, that is the ratio of moment of inertia, that beyond doubt proves that for a rotating spherical body, if the mass is not homogeneously distributed, it can be very easily calculated. The other question that can be asked now, what is the utility of the core to us, the people who live on the surface of the earth? Well, scientists are eager to know when, how the earth formed and what are the possibilities that Earth will evolve into something else in the future, but for the survival of us, the civilization, the human beings, the entire organic world, which is simply referred to as biosphere, the presence of core is absolutely essential. It seems rather paradoxical how something which is occurring at a depth of 2891 kilometers is affecting our life and supporting our existence on the surface of the earth. The answer to this question is the role the core plays in forming one of the most important property of the earth as a planet, that is its magnetism. It is believed and it is now proven that the magnetism of the earth originates in the inner core. So, if there is no core, no inner core, and there is no magnetism, and how will it affect us? Well, simply speaking, navigation and other things that will be definitely hampered if there is no magnetism. But the most important role of magnetism is that Earth's magnetism creates a shield around the planet Earth, which deflect the numerous, innumerable charged particles that are emanated from sun and other bodies which are very harmful and broadly referred to as cosmic rays. Because of this magnetic field that is acting around the earth as a shield, these harmful cosmic rays are deflected and we are safe. Had these cosmic rays reached the surface of the earth, the most part of the biosphere would have been destroyed and we would not have the type of life that you are enjoying today. So, core, now we know they exist, it exists, and we know what it does to us for our survival. So, it is not only for the sake of physics, not only for the quest for knowledge, we must know and acknowledge core. Because there is a core, we are surviving. When we deal with earth sciences in a broad perspective, the most dominant process that is operating very near to the surface of the earth, the process that we believe to be responsible for everything that we see on the surface of earth, its geometry, its composition, even the climate, the temperature variations, these are all controlled by a process that is called plate tectonics. And the main driving mechanism of all these processes related to plate tectonics is heat. It is the heat energy. Earth gets hotter as you go deeper down, and this heat has two sources. One heat is the primordial heat that was formed during the formation of the earth and stored in the core. So, core is the major reservoir of earth's heat. The heat that comes out of the core drives the mechanism of plate tectonics, and thereby it is helping us to survive, because if there was no plate tectonics, it would have been really difficult for organisms to develop on the surface of the earth.
Please watch next part of the program, Core of Earth, Part 3.